Hello everyone, welcome to Inch online fashion designing class. So today let us see how to fix an elastic to a salwar and let us learn how to fix a pocket into a salwar pant. So for this you need an elastic which is 1 inch of width. Of course you need a zip for the pocket and a fabric for the pocket, a lining fabric inside for the pocket. So first, let us see how to insert an elastic into the waistband. So for this, you first need to prepare the waistband to the required length and width depending on the person's size. So let us see how to fix the elastic. So there are two ways to fix an elastic. So the first method is you complete the casing. So casing is where you insert the rope inside on the waistband. That is, you first make a 1/2 inch fold and then again you make a fold of 1 inch, and after complete the casing you need to insert an elastic inside. But then there is a small drawback in this. So when you are going to insert an elastic, if the casing is slightly loose or if it is tight, then the elastic might get twisted inside after a wash. So that makes it really uncomfortable at the waistline when the elastic get twisted. So here we are going to follow another method so that the elastic doesn't get twisted into the waistband. So place the elastic 1/2 inch below, and now you need to fold this 1/2 inch over the elastic, and we are going to stitch on the folded piece. So start with the back stitch, and now as you are stitching you have to slightly stretch the elastic, but don't pull it too tight or don't leave it too loose. So when you're pulling the elastic, you can see gathers formed like this. I'll repeat it again. Don't pull it too tight. You need to hold the elastic behind as you're stitching. So as you could see, you get this gathers on the top. So normally it is slight confusing to calculate the width of the elastic because normally that depends upon the elasticity of the elastic. So sometimes you might have to just minus 2 inches from the required measurement, or sometimes you need to minus 6 inches from the required measurement. So that is slightly confusing, but by doing this method there is no need for us to calculate the width of the waistband, that is the width of the elastic, because this totally depends upon how we stretch and stitch the elastic. And now you just have to make another fold, and now we are going to stitch at the edge of the fold. So when you're stitching at the edge, you need to pull the elastic and make the fabric flat to stitch at the edge of the fold. So by doing this method, the elastic will remain stiff inside and it doesn't get twisted. After completing the waistband with the elastic, I have joined the sides of the elastic with the plain seam with right side facing right side, and I have opened out the seam allowance and stitched on both the sides of the seam allowance so that this will remain flat either on the center back or on the center front. This has to remain flat. If both the elastics are to the same side, then it might look heavy and it might be disturbing when you're wearing the waistband. So open out the waistband and give a stitch so that it remains flat. Since we are so used to wearing leggings nowadays, it feels comfortable when you have elastic at the waistband. So now let us see how to complete the rest of the pant. So now the waistband is ready. The waistband is ready. You just have to complete the leg portion and join this to the leg portion. So before joining the waistband to the leg portion, you will have to fix a pocket. Complete the leg round using the canvas which is available in a roll. So turn the pant to the right side, and now you can give decorative stitches at the leg round here. You can give stitches like waves, or you can give 4 rows of stitches parallel to the stitch given here. Same way you have to complete the other leg too. After completing the leg round, fold the fabric with right side facing right side and complete the inner leg seam. So normally we see pants where the crotch is attached first and then last comes the inner leg seam. But then doing this method, that is completing the inner leg seam first and then joining the crotch, would give you a better fit and a better feel, because when you join the crotch first and then if you finish the inner leg seam, you might get pull when you are walking. So the fabric will all get deposited into the crotch. So when you're walking, you need to pull it out each time. So by doing this method, this will give you a comfort feel and a better fit. Similarly, complete the inner leg seam of the other leg also. So now I'm going to give a second row of stitch. So when you're giving a second row of stitch, don't overlap this previous stitch. Always give the stitch next to the stitch which is given previously. So the reason why we don't overlap the stitches, the stitch which is overlapped becomes more strong and the fabric around the stitch becomes weak. So as a result, the fabric will give away very close to the stitch. So never overlap the stitches. After joining the inner leg seam, turn the pant to the right side. And now we are going to join the crotch curve. So for this, keep the pants right side facing right side. See to it you match the crotch at the inner leg seam. So have the seam allowance facing the opposite direction. Don't have the seam allowance facing to the same side, as it becomes thick on the one side. So now have the seam allowance facing the opposite sides, and now we are going to stitch the crotch curve together. So we're going to just stitch the crotch curve together, and as you're stitching, you see to it you fold the seam allowance inside. So you fold the seam allowance inside so that you don't stitch on the seam allowance of the inner leg seam. You fold the seam allowance to the maximum, and let us join the crotch curve. So if you want, you can just pin it up in position. Don't have difference at the inner leg seam. So pin it up in position and let us join the crotch curve. So now before joining the waistband to the leg portion here, I need to complete the pleating on the salwar, and similarly I need to complete the pocket opening before joining the waistband. So now on my pant I have calculated the pleats only on the front. So I don't have pleats on the back. So it is merely optional for you to take pleats on the back. So you can either take it as a knife pleat, but then I would suggest inverted box pleat on the center back. So instead of having knife pleats on the back, you can have one big inverted box pleat. So if you want to. On the front piece, I'm going to have knife pleats. So the knife pleats has to face the side. So the knife pleats on the right pant has to face the sides, and similarly on the left pant has to face the sides. So from the center point, that is on the crotch curve, I will go out 2 inches and then I will start catching knife pleats. So now I have pinned the pleats in position. So the pleats are in such a way that it faces the sides. So now let me just give a stitch to keep the pleats in position. So beginners, please don't stitch over the pins. Those who are used to sewing can do it, but see to it the pin is perpendicular to the needle. Even if it is slightly at an angle, then the needle might break. So be careful when you're stitching over the pins. It is advisable to remove the pins when you're stitching. So now I have secured the pleats, and now I'm going to finish the pocket opening on the pant portion first before joining the waistband. So from the center point that is on the crotch curve, go out 2.5 inches, or maximum could be 3 inches, not more than that. So now I have gone out 2.5 inches and I have made a marking here, and now from this point I have to decide the width of the opening. So this totally depends on the circumference of your hand. You can just put your hand like this so that the hand has to easily get into the pocket. So mostly it is 5 inches for an adult, so you can measure 5 inches for the width of the opening. So this is 5 inches here, and from the crotch I have taken 2.5 inches. So the reason is, if you're going to go out wide when you're wearing this pant, then the pocket might be visible on the sides of the pant through the side slit of the kameez. So you have to push the pocket inside. So this is almost like a secret pocket where you don't see the pocket at all. So cut out the pocket piece. So the width of the pocket is going to be 6 inches here, because the width of the opening is 5 inches and you need half an inch on both the sides to complete the sides of the pocket. So this makes it 6 inches wide, and the length of the pocket is big enough for the mobile to get in. So you can just put your mobile to check out whether this pocket piece would be enough for the mobile to get inside. So now I have taken it as one long piece. So in case if you don't have a long piece, you can cut out 2 separate pieces like this, so that you will have a joint at the bottom edge too. So now hold the pocket piece like this in position, and now you need to construct a rectangle here. So this rectangle is half an inch. So this half an inch is nothing but the seam allowance. So if the seam allowance is 3/4 inch, then you need to construct a rectangle of 3/4 inch. So since here the seam allowance half an inch, I have constructed a rectangle which is half an inch. So now I'm going to stitch on the rectangle piece here, notch it, turn it inside out. So have the pocket and the pant with right side facing right side. So you need to cut diagonally at the corners. So this cut is very important. Only when you cut it neat close to the stitch, you will get a neat sharp edge. So now turn the pocket piece to the wrong side. So crease it out well. So if you had notched properly, then you wouldn't get any creases here at the corners. So in case if you get creases, so check out whether you have notched properly at the corners and crease it out well. So you decide on which side you want the pocket to be, whether on the right leg or on the left leg. So now I have attached a zip to the opening here. So having a zip is merely optional, but then I would recommend you to have a zip because when you put your things inside the pocket and when you are in a sitting posture, the things might just slip out from the pocket since the thigh is parallel to the floor. So when it is closed, it is much safer. So when you're stitching this zip to the opening, always start with the back stitch. Just give number of back stitches here. So in case if you don't have a stopper, so this back stitch will secure the zip in position. So just go around this rectangle piece and secure with number of back stitches. So the remaining zip can be cut. Since I don't have a stopper here right now because the stopper is cut into the other piece, so now I will give number of stitches here, so this will keep the zip secure. So now you just have to attach the waistband to the pant here. So forget that you have done a zip opening here. So you just have to keep the waistband right side facing right side and stitch with 1/2 inch of seam allowance. So let us complete the pocket piece on the wrong side. So now just fold the pocket piece, bring it to the top edge, and now let us complete the sides of the pocket. The sides of the pockets are completed. Now hold at the top edge and secure the pocket piece at the top edge along with the zip, just to keep it in position. So the pocket is ready. So you just have to attach the waistband and then the pant is completed. So when you're attaching the waistband, if you want, you can change the presser foot to a single foot while joining the waistband, because you might find it difficult to stitch at the runner here. So you can change the presser foot and stitch the waistband. I have pinned the waistband to the pant. So with regular intervals I have pinned it in position, and now I will join with 1/2 inch of seam allowance. So the waistband is attached. And let us give a stay stitch on the waistband by just going out 1/4 inch away. So press the seam allowance towards the waistband and stitch 1/4 inch away from the joint. So the pant is completed. Thank you.